show. I'm Marvin Mutabazi on that topical highlight. It's been really long, but here I am. Today, I'm going to be discussing issues of corruption. I'm with the IGG, that is the Inspector General of Government, Honorable Betty Kamya. Many have been telling me different things about her. Some call her the big fish catcher. Some call her the best politician that I've seen. But yeah, I'm with her. And to me, it's going to be typically corruption. Welcome, Madam. Thank you for honoring my invite and giving me a chance to speak to you.
Thank you, Marvin. And thank you for having me on the show.
It's been 2 years now in office, right? 2 years. This is the second year.
September was 2 years.
Yes, 2 years, yeah. So how have you found office as the IGG?
That's interesting because it's not so much how I found the office, but because the office is largely the same, but what maybe new strategies I have brought to the office. I will tell you, Marvin, that at the time I joined the Inspectorate of Government as Inspector General of Government, the institution had just commissioned a study to establish the extent of corruption in the country. And the study established that Uganda could be losing up to 10 trillion shillings per year to corruption. Now that gave me the starting point, because 10 trillion shillings a year is actually 44% of the domestic revenue that is collected in this country. Almost 50%, about 40% of the domestic revenue. When we wake up in the morning and sweat and work and walk and what, the money that we raise within Uganda, corruption takes nearly 40% of that. And that was a very disturbing figure, but it gave me something to work with. And what we thought with my team, we sat down and said, what can this money, what's the opportunity cost? What can this money do? What would this money have done? And it's amazing what 10 trillion shillings can do in Uganda.
Talking about the 10 trillion shillings being taken by corruption, you've said you found a report about that. And you've been in office for 2 years. Should we say that amount has changed, had depreciated, or has increased?
I don't know. We said that we'll do another follow-up study after 3 years, which we haven't done. But I am sure of one thing, that we have raised the awareness of the general public or the average Ugandan about the extent of corruption in this country, and also their civic duty to participate in the war against corruption from the point of view that they are actually the victims of corruption. Of that, I'm sure that we have raised civic awareness, and that's a good start, because from civic awareness, then you produce warriors.
Honorable, me and you will both agree that this money is mostly taken from government agencies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from government agencies. What has so far been done to curb that down?
We strengthen systems. Most importantly, we've strengthened our systems, or our vibrancy. When we catch people, we make them refund immediately. And I know this is not very popular with the population, because they say, why do you make people refund? They should be rotting in jail. True, they should be rotting in jail, but the options we have is, normally the court process takes so long. It could even take up to 10 years before you get a conviction. A very good example is Kazinda, who is 10 years later, he's still battling the cases against corruption using our judicial system, which requires you to be, which gives you the opportunity to appeal and appeal and appeal. And until you get through that system, sometimes it's very difficult to get a conviction.
I personally believe that these systems you're talking about are letting down the public, more so following the recent arrests of ministers who engaged in the iron sheet scandal, let me call it a scandal, and the DPP came and closed the cases. Yeah, they were arrested, then some were made to refund, but how about thinking about the civilians or the natives down, what they want and what they expect? Because if you're telling me that someone is going to engage in a case of corruption, then we'll be left to just go freely and just refund. Won't that bring up more cases of corruption? Doesn't it give shade to more people?
No. You see, the whole thing is our judicial system. The judicial system requires a conviction on corruption, sets very high standards. It means you have to adduce evidence beyond reasonable doubt. Now, if a person sows any bit of doubt, then you cannot achieve the beyond reasonable doubt. And for that matter, people have got away with corruption. And I will tell you that the conviction rate of the people who have taken to court is about 4%. Every 10 people you take to court, you think you've done a lot of work and you've got evidence. But when you get to court, only 10%, only 4 of them may get convicted.
Honorable.
And even when they get convicted, then they have the option of the appeals. Of the appeals.
Honorable, are you trying to say that we have spaces in our judicial system?
What do you mean?
Are you trying to say that as the IGG and the Inspectorate of Government, you do all you can, and then the system is left in the hands of the courts?
Absolutely.
And then the courts let these people be free, or they judge?
Because they follow the court procedure also. The judge requires you to convince him or her that this person is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Now, if you can't convince the judge will not convict this person. And you know, by nature, corruption is under the table. Corruption is offshore. Corruption is the most difficult thing to prove. So unless you prove to the judge, it is very, very difficult to prove corruption.
After all that, is the IG department convinced with everything? After taking someone to court, then after some time you see the person out, are you convinced? Aren't you guys let down to a point?
Well, that's not up to me. Parliament made the laws. The laws of this country are made in Parliament. The judge follows the laws and the procedures of court. And if you cannot prove that the person is guilty beyond reasonable doubt, the public out there convict you in the public court. Once I point at you and say, that man stole money, the public convicts you. But the judge requires evidence beyond reasonable doubt. That is the difference between the public court and the Court of Justice of Uganda. And that's where people don't understand that the public court has no rules. It is so easy, it convicts. But when you go to the court of the judicial system of Uganda, then the rules change. You have to convince the judge beyond reasonable doubt. And I said, as far as corruption is concerned, it is so difficult to prove. The standards are so high to prove corruption. That is why, if you said people are calling me catcher of big fish, that is why I've been telling people that it's so difficult to catch a big fish.
Anyway, how many have you so far caught?
Actually, the big fish, as Ugandans know them, are very difficult. They don't sign checks. They don't sign contracts. The big fish, the people that Ugandans know, like ministers or big politicians, they don't go to bank to get the money. And when the small fish raises requisitions for funds and get the money and get them to the big fish, they don't get them to sign. So you have a very big problem getting the big fish to succumb to the high standard of evidence beyond reasonable doubt. That is why sometimes to cut your losses, you decide to go for another form of punishment, the recovery. Because, as I said, you gauge, if, as I said, conviction rate is 4 people out of every 10 people. So the 6 people, you have to work out whether you really have, and by the time we take a person to court, by the way, for us we think we have evidence beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
But the judge and a good defense lawyer can turn a small thing around, and the judge dismisses the case even on a technicality. And so that's the environment in which we operate. Recently
you had the life audit. I thought that was the best platform for catching the big fish.
Yes, but see, the lifestyle audit is a partnership. That's why I'm trying to tell the public. It's a partnership between the Inspectorate of Government, which has the instrument of authority, and the general public out there who have information. Now, if Marvin is a public officer who built a mansion in, where do you live? Where do you come from?
Kansanga.
In Kansanga. How do I know? Unless somebody in Kansanga tells me, this Marvin, who is a public officer, has a mansion in Kansanga. I need somebody who knows you to tell me. That's why it is a partnership between the general public who have information and the Inspectorate of Government who have instruments of authority. That's how it works. That's why we keep telling people, don't sit with information. Bring information. That's the evidence I need. But for now, we are doing our best. And I want to thank the public actually, because they do bring information. But a lot of that information also is based on hearsay. You hear this building belongs to so and so, this building belongs to this family, this building belongs to this family. But when you check, sometimes you find that the information you are given and the information you verify do not tally.
Don't you find it a big responsibility to the citizens to start making such a follow-up? Yet, before someone constructing a building in Uganda, we have the land board, we have the other building agencies that someone is supposed to go through to. Don't you think they're also supposed to play a role in this?
Yes, but everybody has their own role, because...
Have they played their role?
Everybody has their own role to the extent that if I go to City Hall to get my building permit approved, and the guy at City Hall does not know who is a government employee and who is not a government employee. They might look at you very smart as you are, Marvin, and think you're a government employee with this lovely suit you are wearing, and come and report to me. And when I go to check, I find Marvin is a private individual. That's why the onus now also is on the people who know the information. They may find that Marvin is actually a government employee, or is not a government employee. It's a lot of information sharing. And during verification, you may find people culpable or not culpable.
So how was the turn-up of the life audit? Was the turn-up efficient as expected?
I think, awareness takes a while. Awareness. Like, I'm sure, Marvin, you're a Christian and you are aspiring to go to heaven. And it has taken you all your life to be told. But somehow you haven't made the step to go to.
I have.
Oh, you have.
I have.
Oh, you have. So that's awareness and action. Sometimes it takes a long time for the two to get together. But eventually, sensitization and awareness should lead to mindset change and to a cultural change which becomes intolerant of corruption. But it is a transformation that takes a while. But the preachers cannot stop. But they hope that there will be a mindset change and a character transformation that eventually will be intolerant towards corruption.
Honorable, you've tried to run around my question. Let me make it direct. Did every government official present their assets as required by the law?
Actually, that's what you're saying. No, not every, but 85%. 85% of the people that were required to declare in the calendar year 2022, 85% declared. Now, 15% who did not declare, the law requires that if they don't give satisfactory explanations, you send them to the Leadership Code Tribunal. That's another arm of government, which then investigates them, tries them, and sentences them. So we send them to the Leadership Code.
Should we say they have been tried? They have been sent there and tried?
Some, yes.
And is it okay if you present the feedback?
I think, no, we can't, but I think you have to talk to the Leadership Code Tribunal. And I can give you the contact.
Oh, so talking about the sensitizing the public, I feel that the anti-corruption and the fight against corruption is central, is centered in the city, and some regions and areas are left outside, the likes of those deep areas, the Masindis, Kigorovia, deep there. What have you done as the director?
Actually, we have 16 offices in the regions outside Kampala. We have offices in Moroto, in Mbale, in Tororo, in Soroti, in Jinja, in Masaka. We really have 16 regional offices spread over the country. So we divided this country into 16 regions, and each region is serviced by an Inspectorate of Government regional office, and that is intended to take our services closer to the people. Of course, it can because each region services 10 districts. Now 10 districts is a lot of districts to be serviced by one region, but that's as far as our resources can stretch.
What are some of the challenges you have faced in the fight against corruption?
It's actually attitude, because the public mindset condones corruption. Actually, it condones corruption. You see, when sometimes someone is accused of corruption or arrested and arraigned before court, then the whole village, including top political leaders, will come escorting, and the president, please spare our son, forgive our daughter, you know. So the public, to a certain extent, has not appreciated that corruption hurts them, and that is their own money that they are stealing. And that's why we try hard to link corruption to service delivery. We try to tell a person, if you went to hospital, took your loved one, and there was no medicine, and your loved one died, it is because someone stole the money of the medicine. So that person is a murderer. Don't call him a village mate or a friend or a relative just because you know him. Because if they had not stolen that money, government would have bought medicine. So you see, Marvin, this is what I told you, that the public have some information, but they don't have all the information. And just like you did, they convict without the information. Unfortunately, when the investigators or prosecutors go to dig deep, sometimes they find that the information out there is slightly different. And I'll give you an example. Many, you know, in the office of the Prime Minister, and it's not my case, it's a case of the DPP, but I have some information. In the office of the Prime Minister, there are 6 ministries affirmative action ministries. There's the Ministry of Karamoja, there's the Ministry of Bunyoro, there's the Ministry of Luwero, there is the Ministry of Northern Uganda, there is the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness, and another one. There are 6 ministries. Now, each of those ministries, in their work plans, because they are affirmative action ministries, each of them had a budget and an activity to buy iron sheets for their constituencies, for their ministries, for their regions, not just Karamoja. So some of those people who were listed to have taken iron sheets, they were actually for their ministries and were actually in their work plans and were actually in their budgets. So if somebody, say, give an example, Prime Minister took some iron sheets, but she's from Bunyoro, and they were for her constituents in Bunyoro, but she was listed as having taken. But she took iron sheets for Bunyoro. The Minister for Luwero also took iron sheets for Luwero, not for Karamoja. So people who were investigating iron sheets for Karamoja, they found that many of the people that had been listed were actually not in the Karamoja list. That's why I'm saying people have information, but not all the information. So when investigators go down, then they get more information, which might make the information they have slightly different from the information that the general public has.
It is,
but I'm not here to defend the office of the DPP, but I am aware of that fact, that the office of the Prime Minister has got 6 affirmative action ministries. Each of those ministries had a budget and a work plan to buy iron sheets, but they were dumped together as if they were all Karamoja.
It is quite becoming interesting because you have talked about the different ministries and regions, but now we're talking about an individual who gets the iron sheets that belong to Luwero, like an example, Luwero or Bunyoro sub-region, and you use them on your farm.
Oh, that one was absolutely. So, and those are the people who were actually arraigned in court. They are in court. Those ones where it was very clear that they didn't give them to the people they're supposed to give them were arraigned in court. I think we have 3 ministers, who were arraigned in court because the evidence examined showed that they used the iron sheets for their personal activity rather than channeling to the people, the intended beneficiaries.
So, Honorable, we have the directorate here, and then we have the Presidential Anti-Corruption Unit. Is this the same, under the same umbrella, or you fall under different categories?
No, they fall under different categories. The Inspectorate of Government is a creation of the Constitution, and its mandate is wide. It includes anti-corruption, it includes leadership code, it includes the ombudsman function, 3 functions. And on the other hand, the State House anti-corruption is specifically on corruption, and it's under the umbrella of the president. And the president, like, he can create units or ministries or whatever. He can also create arms that can help him to deliver on his mandate. So the Inspectorate of Government is created by an act of Parliament, by the Constitution, chapter 13 of the Constitution. With the constitutional mandate, I told you 3, to fight corruption, actually 4, to fight corruption, to do the ombudsman function. The ombudsman function is the function that monitors the quality of service of government to the public, and also the quality of administration within government itself, and then the leadership code. This is where people are required to declare their wealth. So the function of the IGG, of the IG, is much broader than the State House Anti-Corruption Unit.
We have so far talked about the life audit as one of the ways of curbing corruption. What other ways do you have, apart from the life audit and the public involvement? What other ways have you so far used to curb down corruption and reduce the cases?
Of course, we prosecute. We have cases in court. We also have sanctions, administrative sanctions. We have interdicted people. We have forced people to lose their jobs. Over, I think last year alone, 60 people. We also force people to refund money. We have caused people to be transferred sometimes or even demoted. There are many, many things that we do.
Talking about the president, some time back he uttered a statement. He said something, if I got it right, he said that you should be so soft on these guys who invest after stealing the money, who invest it here.
He didn't say soft. He said caution.
You should caution
because
them.
No, not caution. We should be careful because, for instance, because the president is a war person, so he knows. I think he's thinking. Even in war, if you warn your adversary that I am coming, he might run away. So if you want to get them, sometimes you attack is a surprise attack. So the president said, he cautioned us, you be careful how you handle these people, because if you're not careful, they will siphon all the money outside.
Isn't that shedding corruption, Honorable?
Which one?
That act of cautioning so that they don't run.
No, even when we are investigating, we don't tell you, Mr. Marvin, we are coming to investigate you. No. By the time we get to you, we have surrounded you. We don't go straight and say, Mr. Marvin, we are going to investigate you, and this is what you're going, we're checking your houses, we're checking. No. Sometimes we investigate clandestinely, and so that you don't cover your tracks. Because if we give you enough information and enough notice, you may cover your tracks. So that's the caution under which the president was talking, but I think that he was largely misunderstood. He said, I would advise you to be cautious because these people might siphon all the money outside. So how you be cautious? And the president went along and signed the lifestyle audit campaign.
Yeah, he launched it.
He launched it. Yeah. So if he had said don't, he would not have launched it.
All right, Honorable. Today we were talking to the IGG, that is the Inspectorate of Government, Honorable Betty Kamya. And Honorable, a last remark to the viewers.
Dear viewers, corruption is a cancer that it is eating into the fabric of this country, and which, if not stopped, could cripple this country. So it is everybody's responsibility to get involved in the war against corruption. Each one of you in your space, you can do something about it. And what we need mostly from the public is information and attitude change. Attitude change meaning you do not condone corruption. You do not glorify wealth. Glorification of wealth is a big problem that we have. Young people leave school and they want to own a car in 6 months. Young people leave school and they start talking about the kind of car they are driving. They don't know that for Marvin to afford this wonderful suit, he has been in the field for a couple of years. So we need to start putting capital on hard work. People need to value hard work, saving, and planning, not just getting rich very quickly. That is the main cause of corruption, the attitude. So-and-so has a 16-bedroom mansion. He's 29. I also want it. So the moment you get a job, you want to also build. People, work hard for what they have. Now that's not what is happening in Uganda. In Uganda, people don't work hard. People believe in kuteva, deal. They even call it clean money. The money you have not worked for is the one they call clean money. So we need mindset change where people value the principles of hard work and saving and sacrifice, and despise corruption and be suspicious of quickly acquired wealth. We need to get those values in order to fight corruption. I'm sure I have spoken directly to many young people now.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
To me, a number of points have been noted down. Hard work, saving, also hard work. Thank you so much, Honorable, for that great opportunity given to me. As I told you, she is the Inspector General of Government, Honorable Kamya, and we shall be coming back with another episode. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.